So, hello everyone. The topic that we are going to study today is matter in our surroundings, right? Which is the class 9 science chapter, right? And in inside that chapter, we're going to study about characteristics of particles of matter. Okay, what is matter? Anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. So, for example, air, water, stone, soil, stars, animal, plant. So, they occupy space and they have mass, right? Even air has mass, even air occupies space, right? Okay. Now, in ancient concepts talked about the Panch Tattva, that is air, water, fire, earth, and sky, which is matter. And the modern science talks about the physical and the chemical properties of matter, right? So let us move forward. I think you all know this from your younger classes. So matter is made up of particles, right? One thing that we should know that matter is not continuous, it is particulate. What is the meaning of matter is not continuous and it is particulate? It means that, for example, if I have this glass here, which is glass of water, so that means that it is not continuously it is not continuous. Like there are spaces in between water molecules. Water molecules have particulate nature. They're made up of small, small particles. For example, if I have a glass slab with me, so it is not like that. It is a continuous glass slab. It is made up of small, small particles of gas, basically glass, small, small particles of atoms of glass, right? Okay. So we can do an activity for this. You can take salt or sugar and you can dissolve it in water, right? So if you dissolve it in water, the water level does not change, right? So what does it mean? Where did the sugar go, right? Where did the salt go? So basically, if you must have studied this in younger classes, if you have a tumbler of water, so these are the particles of water, right? And inside these particles, these small, 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 small are the sugar and the salt particles, which, they occupy the spaces in the middle. What does it mean? That sugar or any matter, like for example, water, it is not continuous, it is particulate. Matter is particulate, it is made up of small, small particles. It is not continuous, right? So I hope you got this point. Next is small size of particles, right? So particles, they are very, very, very small. Like experiment is dissolving potassium permanganate in water. So, if even if you take like a very little bit of potassium permanganate and you dissolve it in water, it gives a bright purple color. Now you keep on diluting it. It will change from purple to pink. But after many dilutions, also the water still remains that purple pinkish, right? What does it mean? That one crystal has many, many, many tiny particles. So this experiment you can, do in your school laboratory. Basically, they are very small beyond even imagination, like 10 power minus 10 meters, right? That is the size of an atom. The size of the virus is 10 power minus 8. The size of a sand grain is 10 power minus 4 meters. What is 10 power minus 10? 0.00000000001 meters. It is so small that we cannot even see it with the naked eyes, right? So particles are very small. Now, these particles, they move continuously, right? Particles, we are studying about the characteristics and the properties of the particles. Basically, these particles, they are moving continuously. For example, you are going out and you have applied a perfume, right? So the entire room smells of the perfume. Why? Because the air particles, they are moving continuously inside the room, right? So that is diffusion, right? Movement from high concentration to low concentration, like ink. You take small amount of ink, so you can see how ink spreads throughout the water because the particles of water are moving continuously, right? Okay. And hot water diffusion faster than cold water. Okay. So basically, if you mix something into hot water, like sugar into hot water, it will dissolve faster, right? Because the particles, they are moving with a high speed because the kinetic energy is high. So whenever we increase the temperature, the kinetic energy is high, right? And the temperature increases, right? Okay. Because of the increasing temperature, these particles, they are moving with a very high speed, right? That is the reason that, the hot water diffusion is faster than cold water. So basically, particles, they have kinetic energy. They keep on moving. They're never still, right? So that is the third property. Now let us move to the other property, that is particles, they have space between them. I think they've already studied this, that, particles, they have particulate nature. They have spaces in between them. For example, if you dissolve salt in water, right? Dissolving salt in water. So salt particles, they occupy empty spaces, right, between the water particles. And this property, this explains that, liquids can mix, gases can dissolve, right? You know how do fishes breathe in under the water? Because oxygen, it is able to dissolve in the water because water has spaces, right? Okay, you must have seen, you must have, drank cold drink, right? So when you open it, you hear that fizzing sound. What is it? It is carbon dioxide dissolved in your cold drink, right? So because water has spaces between it, right? Liquid has spaces between them. So these particles can dissolve inside the liquid. That is, particles have space between them, right? Okay. Next is particles attract each other. These particles, they attract each other, right? Basically, like, chalk. So chalk breaks easily. So I can say that there's weak force of attraction with iron nail, right? It is very hard. So I can say that between the iron particles, the force of attraction is very large. Okay. And surface tension. So basically, water molecules, they're strongly attracted to each other. That is what is surface tension, right? So basically, the strength of forces is very high in solids than liquids, and in gases, obviously, because the particles are very far apart, the forces are weaker, right? So the next point is particles attract each other. Okay. Okay, let us do a summary of characteristics. Basically, firstly, we studied that particles of matter are extremely, extremely small, right? They have spaces between them. They are continuous. Their motion is random, and they attract each other with different strengths, right? Okay. So there are some questions for you which you can, solve and check the answer. So I have put the answer in the next slide. So which of the following is not matter, right? So I told you matter. What is matter? Anything that occupies space and has mass, right? So smell of hot food, it reaches far away. Why? Because the particles are able to carry that. But why it is happening? What is the phenomena? Can you answer this? Next is in the KNO4 dilution experiment, the color remains visible. Why does it remains visible? That also you have to answer. Next is diver cutting water. A diver cutting water means a diver, like, who jumps into the water. So he's able to cut through the water, right? How? Why? So can the diver cut through the solid? It cannot, right? So I think you got the hint. So these are the answers, right? You can check it, and how you can check your level of understanding. So thank you so much. Thank you for paying attention. And so this was just a small explanation. If you want to study in detail, we can get in touch, through Urban Pro, and we can take one-on-one classes, right? Thank you so much.